Hi there and welcome back to this second part of the cricket match winner and innings runs model at priceyourownbets.com. Okay, in the first part we got through all the stuff on the left hand side of this dashboard tab, so we'll just move on to the right hand side now. We'll just continue to work through the green cells, which is basically all the things that you can play with. So the next thing here is an adjustment. Now this is a raw innings adjustment that just on its own just totally changes the expected runs by this amount. So you probably wouldn't do it at the start, you'd change the basis, but if you just said here, I think they're 4 runs better off, then they go from 150.5 to 154.5. So this is a raw adjustment, an absolute adjustment, so you don't want this still on at the end, So for example, let's go to 19 overs and 5 balls, and let's suppose they're on 140 runs. Well, this says they're worth about 1.8 runs off that final ball. Well, if you still got the 4 here, it says, well, now they're worth 145.8, so you think they're going to get 5.8 runs off the final ball, so you're pretty confident in that guy's ability to get a 6. So just something to be very careful about is to always make sure you reduce this late on in the game, because otherwise you're just going to get some nonsensical answers basically. Okay, so you can do the adjustments for both teams. The match winner draw no bet will be here throughout, so this will evolve ball by ball depending on runs scored, wickets, whatever happens. And you've also got the midline, and this is just for the team that's batting at the moment. So in the first innings, it's just free. It can be based on just whatever you expect the team to get, and as runs happen, it changes this line. So if I go back to the start, this team's 150.5 at the moment, but suppose they're 1 over in and they've started well, they've got 11 runs. Well, they've gone up here, they've gone from 150.5 up to around 156, is still a fairly close to 50-50 line. This second one is just to be of use where, suppose you've got them 155.5, but somebody else has said actually, they're going to do better now, they're 157.5. So if you put a 2 add-on here, you just get this line plus 2. And so, this is 53% the under according to your figures, which, it makes sense if you think less than 155.5 that something bigger is, more than 50% likely to be under. You could go further extremes, 9 more. So you could be looking at, another firms might have they might actually be 154.5, but they've also got a line 10 runs higher, which would be 164.5. So just by changing this number, you can get to any lines within, I think, plus or minus 30 runs there. So it's just handy just to, look at other lines slightly away from where you are or whatever. So we move on to the markets tab now. This middle line here and here is the two-way market that's also on the main dashboard tab here, so that will be the same market as is on the other tab. We also get 2 higher and 2 lower, and we can choose how far apart they are. So that's set to 10, which a lot of firms do. They offer a plus or minus 10 and 20 at the start of the innings, and another firm might go 5, or they might reduce it to 5 as the innings goes on. So you can do that to look at different firms very easily. You could go to 3. You could even go to 1 here, just if you want to look at all the other companies' middle line, which is very close to yours. It could be one firm's 156.5, another's 154, another's 153. So you might go to 2 to get something similar. So that's pretty much it with the 2-way runs. You can also have a look at the 3-way. So here there's 2 numbers that define a market now. So here you've got under 150.5, over 160.5, and somewhere in the middle. I use halves for everything here just so there's no confusion. If I put 150 here, then you might be asking, well, is it less than 150 or less than or equal to 150? So as you can't get runs that aren't whole numbers, it just means that you just get complete clarity of what the market means. So there's two variables here, so you can change the size of the middle. So this is set to 10 runs here, but it actually includes both endpoints, so it's kind of 11 in a sense, that you get 150 all the way to 160 inclusive is the middle, and it's less than 150 and a half, so equal to 150 or less is below, and above 160 and a half is above. I think I might have given some wrong information there, because 150 actually, sorry, is in the below, so it is 10 runs actually. It's 151 to 160 inclusive. So I can reduce the middles to say 5. So now obviously these are closer together. You know, this middle is 10% now instead of being near to 20. And also, a bit like how far apart the lines are, I can also do that here. So if I make that 5, then you know these are close to overlapping again. If I had them at 10, then you know there's kind of distance in between these. So again, that just gives you flexibility to, you know, look at tight middles, or, you know, look at lines close together. And I could have created hundreds of markets here for every scenario, but I think it's easier just to, you know, manage that yourself on this page here. If there is a particular bespoke one you want quickly, rather than having to work out what you need to get from here, you can just do it. So if I want a line from 132.5 to 163.5, which, oh look, as luck have it, look, I've actually picked kind of a 50-50 one, so you've got about a 50% chance to lie in that middle there. So, you know, I could make it different, and then, you know, now you've got a 63% middle. So again, it just means that you can compare easily a specific three-way market that you know, you might have suspicions there could be a good bet into. So that's kind of it for the markets here. I'm just going to go back now to something that I referred to in the first part of this user guide, which was this idea of a complex pricing mechanism. So I'm just going to reset this now. And if I put the complex pricing in, I get this additional tab here, players. Now how this works is, this you can do pre-match. You pretty much know the batting order, and you know the relative strengths of the players. So the key here is it's not necessarily how good the players are, but it's how good they are relative to an average player in their position in the batting order. So you might often get with a lot of teams that, you know, you get strong players coming in at 3 and 4. And you know, it might be that you think this guy's weaker here at 2. So if you do use this pricing mechanism, you have to be on top here of this to acknowledge the wickets and, you know, what's going on. So suppose I go to this scenario here. I'm going to put 2 and 3 out and 1 and 4 in. So let's make this guy weaker actually, and make this guy stronger or whatever. So let's just have a look now at this thing here, which is the smart wickets. So what this is telling us is that although they're 2 down, because of the context of what we've said this team are like, they're actually not quite as worse off. And if you look at that, they've lost a 0.8 guy and a 1.1, but they've got a strong guy in. So if you put another couple of strong guys here to follow, then you know you're even less in bad shape. You're not 2 down now. You're effectively 1.8 wickets down. You can still use the wicket adjustment here. So if you actually disagreed with that, if you do 0.2, you just get back to the 2 wickets having been given. So the good thing about this is it just gives context to what's going on. And you know, another example here is you could pack your middle order with fairly strong players, and you could just have a team that have just got a terrible tail. So all of these players are, you know, a lot weaker, so they don't bat very far. So if I was to give 4 guys out now and put 5 and 6 in, and actually let's not even make these guys too good either. So we've lost our stronger players, and we've got a lot of not very good players to come, and we're 4 down. So we go back here, it actually thinks we're 4.8 down. So it really is, you know, pretty bad shape here. I've got them 4 down here with having not played any. So actually let's put them 4 down after 10. I suppose put them on about 63 runs. So that 4.8 is because these guys at the end are probably going to get a bat in this context here. So you could do the opposite. You could actually say, look, they might have lost 4, but they bat all the way to 11, this team, so I'm not perhaps as worried. And now let's see, my smart wickets has come out at 4. Let's have a look, because I've got these guys here. So if I put this like this, so looks like these guys at the end aren't doing much in this context. So so here, yeah, I've got to a situation now where they're they're not quite as bad. They're not quite as bad being 4 down as you might have expected. So just to go back the other way again, if you've got a lot of bad players to come, then the smart wickets goes up. And again, if you go a few more overs in and a few more runs, this is going to be reacting to how likely these guys are to get a bet. So if you've got the time pre-match to calibrate the team as you think their relative strengths are to a normal position in the batting lineup, then it probably makes sense to do so. That way you're not having to assess quickly in during a game, hang on, are the good players gone, are they still to come? You can make those decisions pragmatically before the game, based on strike rates and run rates. And the reason I've done it on just this sliding scale is I think it's easier for humans just to know that a number 4 is strong as number 4s go, a number 7 or 8 or whatever is weak as a number 7 or 8, relative to what they would be in all teams, because obviously the information that's used to build these kind of things tends to be based on averages, and of course teams don't always bat to average. And just as a final point, you can put the names in here just so you don't get confused as to who you put where if there's a slight change in the order, or when people are coming in or whatever. So so I'm not sure how much use that final bit will be. It's a new concept. I've not modelled anything like that before, so it'd be interesting to see if people think it's of use. So that's it for this user guide then. So thanks very much for listening, and I'll be back with something else new soon. Thanks a lot.